Hey, it's Nick Supik, Century 21 Real Estate. Hope you're doing well today. Just wanted to kind of share with you today, some folks occasionally, it's kind of on the rare side, but can I purchase the home with the current, like furnishings, the furniture and, maybe the photos or not the photos, but the paintings and, the stuff on the walls and all that stuff, I get the sofa and the table, just all these different things. Can I get that with the house? Like, it's kind of like a question that comes up. And it can go a couple different ways. Some sellers are very interested in including furniture because maybe they're downsizing. I'm going to say, so in the Pittsburgh area, it's not super common to say, hey, we're including all the furniture. Right? It just doesn't happen that often. Now, if you live in, more of a vacation area, that happens a lot more often. And, it's just almost a presumption in those vacation areas that the furniture is included with the sale. However, around here, so a couple things about that is you kind of want to keep the main thing. If you're negotiating on a home, I've seen where, maybe a seller actually, has some beautiful furniture, and they're kind of really proud of it. And they've spent some time acquiring these items, and then a buyer comes in and wants to negotiate the home and negotiate the furniture all in that same deal, and it just kind of doesn't go real well a lot of times, especially if the seller wasn't really anticipating that happening. Because then so when I say keep the main thing, I'm kind of suggesting that it kind of blows those deals up. Because the seller thinks they're giving too much, and the buyers don't think they are, and so then they lose sight of actually the purchase of the house, and then it becomes about these So we often use the word chattel, which really just means personal property, versus it being real estate. So that kind of becomes a thing. It kind of becomes a problem for the transaction itself. And also, when you're including chattel on a sales contract, and if there's mortgage involved, financing involved, that kind of becomes an issue of value in those types of things. And mortgage companies don't like to see that on contracts. There's customary things. Hey, refrigerator, stove, and there's dishwasher, like that. Completely common, written as personal property on the sales agreement. It's done most of the time. So one thing about it is some people never really think about it. They never think about selling their furniture, and some buyers never think about purchasing the furniture. So it is something to ask. Hey, is the seller interested in including that? So if I'm working, so here it is. If I'm working for the buyer, I'm gonna try to bring up a couple items up front. If I'm working for the seller, I'm going to say, hey, let's not talk about these items. Let's talk about it later. Let's negotiate the real estate. Let's get that, put away. Let's make sure we get that done because, furniture can, again, keep the main thing. So we don't want to get confused, and it just depends on who I'm working for. Let's see. So, and also think about this. So from the if I'm working for the seller, which I do a lot, on the listing side, I don't really want to negotiate that furniture inside the contract, because really now my client is paying commission on personal property, because we're negotiating it inside the sales agreement. Now all of a sudden that turns into a commission thing, so if we negotiate that outside the contract after the fact, we oftentimes we're not going to take any commission on that. So it benefits the seller, let's say, for sure, so they're not paying commission on that. And if you're working, so from a buyer's perspective, it makes sense. Furniture's not inexpensive any longer, right? So depending on where you shop and what you shop for, if the seller is looking to kind of release some things, and so later on in the transaction too. If we express it, we have a little interest in some things, so now they're going to try to not find a home for stuff. So they're going to be like, oh yeah, I think maybe the buyers will be interested in this. So then maybe you can get a little better deal on those things too. because as it gets later in the transaction, they just want to like get that off their plate, right? They don't want to have to deal with those items. So I hope this kind of brings a little clarity to, hey, it's an option to buying some of the furniture. I'm going to suggest it's probably better to not really negotiate it up front so as to keep everybody on the same page and just kind of bring it up that there might be some interest in it. And then, as a seller, just kind of make a list. Hey, here's a handful of things that we would sell. Here's what we would be interested in getting for it. And just kind of know that, in that market of furniture, when you're in that market of selling furniture in the middle of a transaction, unless it's definitely a very expensive piece, you normally don't get, you're not going to get what you paid for it. That's for sure. And you oftentimes probably not even going to get half of what you paid for it. So it's just going to be more of a convenience that you can leave it and kind of get paid a little bit for it. So hope that makes sense, and I appreciate your time. Hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye.